Hello. Welcome to season 3 of Rewind with Ro. I'm your host, Ro Carter, and my amazing, talented, and handsome co-host,
Rob Smith. I'll take that. I'll take it. Thank you so much.
How you doing, brother?
I'm great. Happy to be back. You know, I love sitting here and chatting about movies with you. So
he doesn't like doing this. Anyway, we've been on a little hiatus, everybody. I mean, there was a writer's strike, there was the actor's strike, and everything's coming back together now. Hollywood is opening. Taraji P. Henson is not happy about that because Black women still ain't getting what their just dues, but that's a conversation for another day. But anyway, we are back, excited to do season 3. I don't know if we're going to try to do one more before the new year. See what happens with scheduling because, you know, you have Christmas Monday and then New Year's the following week. If not, then January 4th, we'll be back and running to Thursday nights as usual. So we have some great topics tonight. Before we get into that, I want to catch up with Rob a little bit, but we are going to do Leave the World Behind. That is on Netflix currently. And then we're doing Candy Lane with starring Eddie Murphy. Welcome back, Eddie. Welcome back.
Yes.
So the best thing I love about these two movies we have tonight is that Julia Roberts, Ethan Hawke, haven't seen them in a while, right? In movies, and then also Eddie Murphy coming back. So it's nice to have like our old school 80s and 90s actors, like, boom, hey, we're on the screen. You might not like it, you might like it, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, Rob, what's been going on with you, buddy?
You know, just living life during the strike, trying to find things to keep myself busy, missing being on here talking with you about movies every week. But, you know, life is good.
All right, that's good. Anything new for you in the acting world or anything? Did you pick up a hobby? Like, did you learn something during this hiatus?
No, I chose to be lazy.
Wow. All right.
Not really. No, I didn't pick up a new skill. I really was not lazy at all. Trust me. I've been.
He was working behind the scenes.
Working behind the scenes, and I've been back and forth between here and Miami for work. So you know, I'm now bi-coastal.
That's a tough flight because I used to live in LA and just going to New York. Like, it's fun going back to LA because you get the hours, but coming to the East Coast, you're like, ugh, if you don't come in early enough,
yeah,
the whole weekend's gone. So anyway, and you're not coming for fun, right? You're like, I'm working.
But, you know, I've created a little community out here. So
okay.
it's been a good time. And I know you're quite often in Miami. So
yes. Have you been behaving down in Miami? Because Miami,
as much as to be expected.
Okay, all right,
it is Miami.
I want to see you on one of those locked up Instagram sites.
No locked up.
All right. And I am in the wine room. This is not my wine room, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just flexing for the gram. That's all.
You should have just said it was your wine room.
No, we're honest here. We're gonna be honest here, but it could be.
You still owe me a box of wine, by the way.
I do. I was waiting for you. So when I see you in Miami, because I think you're still gonna be going back and forth, I will hit you up then. Perfect. I don't like to send that thing by. You know how many things that we've been lost in the mail? We got 2 iPhones stolen, 2 watches stolen, man. People are just stealing stuff. And yeah, FedEx is like, I don't know.
Like, that's insane.
Yes. Me, I've been running around. I've been in Boston now. The weather is officially cold. It is freezing here. So I am so happy. And I started taking guitar lessons.
Wow.
Play. I learned a couple of Wu-Tang chords.
You're better than me because I bought a guitar and I was like, I'm going to learn. I'm going to teach myself, and I've learned nothing at all. It's just a decorative piece on my wall at this point.
Listen. Took me 2 years during COVID. I got a guitar. Didn't do it either. Musician YOUSCIAN, like musician, but musician. It is the best app. I'm taking lessons as well, but the app helps me kind of just playing. And it's when I tell you easy, like if you've never played an instrument before in your life, it's really good. And there's tutorials, it slows it down for you. So I'm 100%. We're not sponsored by them, but I am plugging them today. Musician. Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out. I appreciate the info.
Of course, of course. So let's get into it. What do you want to do first? Do you want to do cast of? You want to do Candy Lane, or do you want to go and leave the? Do you want to start on a dark, or do you want to start on a happy?
Let's start dark and then go Christmas.
Oh, okay, okay. Man has.
This makes more sense that way. It's Christmas right on the point.
Okay, that's a valid point. Thank you so much for that. All right, so first movie is Leave the World Behind. It came out last week on Netflix. Huge hit. I think it was top 10 movies. It was top 1 for a couple of days. This is a thriller. It was based on an actual novel written by Rumaan Alam. It was a 2020 classic. Actually, Obama was like, hey, this is my top book. So it's one of those end-of-the-world books. And then it became into a movie directed by Sam Ismail. He also did I, Robot. So there's a lot of, if you ever were a fan of I, Robot, there's a lot of teasers on there and Easter eggs. If you're into stuff like that. If not, then you just watch a normal movie, or you were like, why am I watching this movie? Anyway, with that being said, this movie is basically a family vacation in Long Island. They're interrupted by 2 strangers bearing news of a blackout. As the threat grows, both families must decide how best to survive the potential crisis, all while grappling with their own place in the collapsing world. So it's one of those dark movies, kind of like a Cloverfield or a 12 Days Later, where like you don't know what's happening, right? And we see this family that is Julia Roberts, Ethan Hawke, and their 2 kids. And then this black family by I want to make sure I pronounce this brother's name, Mahershala Ali.
Now you know who Mahershala Ali is.
Of course, but sometimes I slur the name. I'm like Mahershala. Mahershala Ali and his Mahala Harold, who is huge industry, blew up in industry. So she's really starting to blow up and become a young black actress that I think we're going to see like just pave the way for a lot of young actresses. So she plays his daughter. In the actual book, I think it's a couple. So it was kind of a twist here where Mahershala Ali's character is not with his wife. He's actually with his daughter, and his wife's on a flight. They show up on the doorstep of Julia Roberts and Ethan Hawke. And so every black person and every white person, we had a moment together where we realized, hey, do we trust each other here? And would I trust the black man? But hey, he was in a suit. So if he wasn't in a suit, I'd be a little suspect. He was in a suit, but still, out in Long Island, a lot of people ain't opening that door. So what did you think about the movie, Rob? And then I'll ask you some questions as we go through it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love complex stories that obviously have their roots in like novels or book series, because I feel like it gives so much more life and depth to the story. So it's not just a flat, unimaginative journey that we have to live through for 2 hours. But for me, this was like, it had all of the right elements of like suspense and fear and like confusion. It really left you like on the edge of your seat for the entire movie. So for that, I loved it. And I thought every single performance was spot on and every actor was phenomenal in their own right. So I was super excited about it, and I would actually love to just sit down with another group of friends and watch it again. I watched it solo by myself, but I would love to sit down with a group of friends and watch it too, and just see if I can find some of those little Easter eggs you're talking about that someone could pick up by watching it again. But I really, really enjoyed this film thoroughly.
Okay, so I watched the movie a couple times. I fell asleep a couple times, and I watched it thoroughly. And then I also read some reviews and watched some reviews, and a lot of people did not like this movie. And what I've noticed is we become a lazy society of movie watchers where we don't want to be challenged and think about anything, right? And I read people's comments like, what are you talking about? And so you hit the nail on the head here, Rob. It was everything. Like, what would you do if you found out, hey, this might be it. This is the end of the world. And I'm stuck. I'm with my family. A new family comes in, but we're in their house. there were so many moments that, so for those who haven't seen it, the couple that shows up on the door, it's actually their house.
That
So
they're
imagine you're coming back to your house because you saw the city. You know, dad was thinking like, hey man, doesn't make any sense to go to New York because we're going to be screwed. We don't have anywhere to go. Everything's going to be shut down, especially with the blackouts. Even trying to get a hotel room or wherever, we're not going to be able to do that. So we're better off just going back home. Now the family being Julia Roberts and Ethan Hawke being like, and Julia Roberts is like suspect. She's like, I ain't letting you in this house. And Ethan Hawke's like, well, he just said your name and he said an email. And they gave enough facts with no ID, which is like crazy to me. In 2023, every person of color should have ID with them at all times, because you never know what can happen. My mom told me that when I was a kid. Another one.
And he was able to open that liquor cabinet. That was important.
Yes, and another thing, he had access to the liquor cabinet. So everything that was like, oh, he definitely lived here. But I could see, like, in the middle of the night, if someone came to my door, like, how would you react?
I absolutely would be like, I'm not comfortable with this, especially if I had kids. If I had kids in the house, I'm like, no, I'm absolutely not comfortable with.
So you're not letting them stay in their own house?
No.
Even though he said, hey, I'm gonna take half off and I'll give you $1,000 in cash right now.
No.
Really?
You're gonna take half off and then kill me in my sleep? No. That's one of those things that only happens in a movie. Like, nobody is opening that door and being like, yeah, come in with me and my young children and just hang out here, even though we've never met you before and you can't prove that you're who you're saying you are. Like, no.
Wow, Rob. All right. You'll get lost in the holidays around Rob.
I mean, I will say this. In their defense, there were a lot of weird things happening. And I feel like the weird things happening would have intensified my concern and my anxiety around the idea of letting somebody in, when already for that course of the day, like, extremely weird, uncommon things have been happening. So I don't think that that's something in reality that would have happened. But, you know, it's film. But it worked. It worked for the story.
So one of the opening scene, or one of the big scenes I say in the movie, is when Ethan Hawke and Julia Roberts and the family are at the beach, and the daughter's like, Dad, there's a big tanker like slowly coming into the beach, and she's like, it'll be all right. And then like a half an hour later, an hour later, it's like, Dad, it's getting closer. And then to the point, it's like, yo, we gotta go. And I love, like, you know what we always say when we see those videos, like people watching a big wave come and like they didn't run. And I'm like, I think sometimes as human beings, we're mesmerized by things like, it can't be really happening. And then we don't react. Black folks are like, yo, you better get out of here. But like, it's getting closer, look. And so I don't know, because I've never been in that situation, right? But normally if I see something crazy going, like shots fired, I'm out. But other stuff, you're like, I'm gonna keep going. So that kind of kicks off the scene. You're like, oh wow, something's really going down when the tanker comes on land, and it's a big ass tanker. And you're like, holy cow. And then the family shook, and now you're shook. And I love that when you feel the energy of the people on in that scene and on the screen. And so we kind of play through that. And then they come later. Mahershala Ali's character comes with his daughter later and say, hey, you know what? We're in a situation. Can you help us out? And hey, you know, we won't even be in your area. We have a guest room. He knows about the guest room downstairs. We'll just stand on there and keep out of here. Now, through this movie, they wind up staying there a couple of nights. I'm like, at some point, I want my bed back.
I thought about that too.
Right? I'm like, how long am I going without sleeping in my bed? How many nights you going, Rob?
One.
That's it, right? You give like hey, and then you let them leave, right? Because there's a moment where it gets really crazy and chaotic, and like they're gonna leave, and you're like, all right, go. And the daughter's like, yeah, just go. Yeah, because you ain't coming back here. And now we meet some amazing characters through this as well. Shout out to Kevin Bacon. His character is one of those like, hey man, I listen to the radio. I know in the dark web all this stuff is going on, and he's one of those guys that prepares for everything. And so later on, I'm not gonna give a lot of stuff away, but his character, he gets to flex his muscles as an actor. You know, he's been around for so long, but also a scene where like I think everybody either growing up or at some point has met somebody like that character, right?
Absolutely.
That believes the world is going to come to an end, that's stocked and ready for anything to go down, you know, and you always know that one person. And it's interesting. He was like, you know, hey, it's going to come down to family protecting yours, or losing yours. And I'm like, wow, that's a big one, right? Like, when do we stop becoming humans? You know, when stuff hits the fan, like, you know, when our backs are against the wall, when do we, if we didn't prepare, like, should we all, you know, kind of like, should I be prepared to buy a gun at this point, Rob? You know, like, I'm like thinking if I live out in the middle of nowhere, I'm just like, ugh. And you see nature do its thing and people are doing their thing. You just don't know what's going to happen. What do you think?
Yeah, and I think that was the other thing I really loved about the story. I truly feel like it's one of those situations um, where you want to say like art imitates life, but I don't want to say I don't want to say that, but I do think that it is very timely that they decided to make this book into a film while we're on the precipice of, I don't know, us looking like the bad guy across the globe. So it's interesting, and I think that I don't think it's crazy to prepare for something crazy to happen. I think it makes sense to be prepared. Like, hey, I live in California. I know there could be an earthquake, so I keep a jug of water under the bed.
You have a bag?
A what?
You have your earthquake bag?
I have my earthquake kit under the bed.
Oh, see, okay. So I used to live in LA and I experienced 2 earthquakes. And then after the first one, oh, brother. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. So that's kind of interesting you brought that up, right? Preparing for the unexpected, but you have to almost have it come to that brink, right? For you to do, because you didn't buy that. You didn't buy that without experience in an earthquake, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. But I think these kind of films, this kind of story, should serve as kind of like a warning, right? So I think it's a conversation of like a social experiment, right? So if things were to go wrong, and we see this in like zombie apocalypse movies all the time, the worst enemy of the situation is not going to be the thing that everyone's afraid of. It's going to be the people that are surviving it, because everyone kind of goes into this state of panic and this mode of self-survival. So everything else becomes irrelevant to them. So I kind of think that kind of social, experiment was an underlying part of this story, So that was what, I don't want to give too much of the film away. That's kind of the tactics that were used were meant to push people into a frenzy where they don't trust each other and we become the thing that destroys ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, I think COVID prepared us for that, right? You did one or two things. You either if you had some money, you bought a place in Long Island or out in the middle of nowhere, where you were kind of isolated from everything else and you can kind of control your environment, or you just wanted to be around nature because you were locked up in your apartment. People don't really understand how New York and LA is kind of similar in certain areas, but like to not have land and to be locked up for a couple months, man, that messed with your head. That really messed with your head. So I think we had a taste of that. And so it's like, hey, how do you prepare for that? And I think society did in a way, right? If you could afford to do it, you bought a house out in the middle of nowhere and you stocked up and said, hey, just in case this stuff happens again, we got a place to go to. And you kind of see some of the layers that people have out there. Like the houses were amazing. Some of the and that's just Long Island in general. Going out there, there's some amazing places that have been that you can rent, and that place would probably cost a night. It probably 10 grand a night right there. That place right there, $1,000 my behind. When he said $1,000, I was like $1,000.
You're like, I don't know.
$1,000.
They're like, that's all you're charging?
That's some tax.
Gotta up these prices.
So there's a couple of big scenes where you really feel technology kind of playing a role in this, being like, hey, I have no access to internet, but at the same time, we have these amazing things called Teslas now. And there's a Tesla scene. I would just say like that scared the living life out of me in terms of like, holy cow, I didn't even think about that. Like, imagine. Like, what would you do? We're not going to give away. We're going to talk about the scene, but not going to give it away. Like, what would you do, one, in that situation? And did you even think of that, like, that next level? Like, kind of like a T2 Terminator, like, but cars?
Yeah, I think this is another conversation that's always brought up when you talk about, like, advancing into the future. And now that we are, like, in a period where back in the day when we would watch these films,
Yeah.
the future seemed so far away. But now we live in a society in a world like everything is so connected through technology, through Wi-Fi. So if all of that went down and all of that went away, like what do? Like we can't communicate with each other. We can't watch anything on the television because everything is dictated by like our connection to Wi-Fi or to like some kind of electronic experience. So if you take all of that away, like what do you do? Like how do you stay in touch with the world? How do you, I don't know, even access anything that's functions from, you know, electricity? So it's so interesting that was part of the conversation. If you don't have a backup generator and you don't have some kind of connection to Wi-Fi, what are you going to do? So yeah, I've thought about that. I've definitely thought about that, especially with the introduction of like solar. I'm like,
time to get a house and solar power.
Yeah, exactly.
So the daughter and I love that because you kind of weave into what's going on in terms of the daughter of Julia Roberts and Ethan Hawke, and she is trying to see the last episode of Friends, and that's yeah, that's the running theme throughout the whole entire movie. She's like, I just want to see the last episode. Calm me down. But that whole point of the movie, it's kind of like that's what calms us down, right? Familiarity and what we feel comfortable with. And she lost that, right? When you lose technology, you kind of lose that. We still have that in us. We're still that last generation that we can function without technology. These kids, oh my God. I mean, I don't know what they would do. Like, you mean we have to play a board game? Like, what is that? Like, what is board games? What are cards? I don't know what cards are. But with that being said, it was like, oh my God, that was the running theme of finding the end. And then I thought about that. I was like, oh, you know what? What's your solace, right? What's going to bring you back to comfort? You know, if you don't have any edibles and or alcohol anymore, you know, you can't. So I actually have 100 DVDs. I have a DVD collection. So the first thing I thought about was like, oh, we good. I just need that DVD player. But then I was like, oh, I don't have. I can't. Well, the energy still works. So electricity still works. I can still plug in, which is great. But you didn't have satellite. So I was like, oh, I'm good. I got 100 movies. I got classics. Dave Chappelle. I got first 3 seasons. I got In Living Color, first 3 seasons. I'm good, play. I'm good. I got
my DVD collection is deep still.
Wizard of Oz. I got the reboot, you know, black and white, color. Like I got it all, you know. So I got some classic movies that you can have a good time with and really learn about the world itself and kind of put you in a safe place. And that's what I love about movies. Like they can put you in a comfort zone where like I don't think even people can do, right? It's just something about that movie. You're like, oh my God, I love this one scene, or I love that song in the scene. And I love that for this is that her part was finding just, I want to watch Friends. That's what I want to do. And I was like, last episode wasn't even that good. But anyway, that's a whole nother conversation.
Well, I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate because I was never obsessed with that show to begin with. I was never a person who was like running home to see it. So
oh, Rob.
I'm just saying, I'm a living single person.
All right. I agree with you. I love Living Single. Living Single is classic.
There it is.
There's a scene in the movie where there's a dancing scene with Mahershala Ali and Julia Roberts. Now, I didn't know what to think of this scene because I remember back in the day when Julia Roberts and Denzel Washington were on screen, they did the Pelican Brief. And this movie made both of their careers, but could have broke her career if there was a kissing scene. And they said they purposely, if anybody remembers back in the day, you can Google this. Back in the day, like it was very controversial for any big white lead to kiss a black man, kiss any man of color on screen. And so this could have killed her career. Her and Denzel are still close to this day like that. But it amazed me that she was able to get so like her and Mahershala Ali are dancing close. And I was like, oh Lord, Julia, what has happened? We don't care anymore. Oh, is that what we're doing? And the All Songs Next. This is a classic growing up. I think I was in junior college when this song, that's how old I am, when this song came out. And I remember the words, but I forgot the words. And I was like, oh, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing on Netflix.
I love that they picked like a a good R&B song though.
Yes. And no one has that on. Only DJs have that on vinyl. No one has that on vinyl. No one has Next on. No one. I have the double. I have the cassette because it was a single back then, and I have the white one. I actually have it. I still have it this day. The white one, and because a lot of people thought I looked like the third guy in Next. He's like,
you kind of do.
Yeah, you see. So I was working that, bro. When I would shave my head, I do the LL, lick my lips a little bit, and I was like, ooh, when I wear a hat. The next guy, and I was killing it. I was having a good time.
That's I think I have that CD, so I'm gonna have to check when I get home.
Yes, but again, you either have a CD. I'll take a CD or tape. But no one only DJs have that on vinyl. I have vinyl collection. I was like, she's like looking through it, like, oh, this is a good song, and I'm like, so what are we doing, Julia? Yeah, so that was a weird scene, right? So Ethan Hawke is talking to the daughter, and Julia Roberts is talking to Mahershala Ali, and when you're stuck with people, you want to get to know who they are, and that's just, I think, just human nature. But at the same time, human nature, when you're stuck in like the end of the world, it's like you kind of like let down your guard a little bit and like, hey man, let's have some fun, right? If we're gonna die, let's just do that. Did you feel like that was what's being portrayed on screen, or was it just people being drunk and high and stupid stuff happens?
No, I think it was a well-earned moment in both circumstances, because what I gathered from it was it's one of those moments where it's like you spent so much time living in an existence where you're not happy, but you just go forward with life because it's the life that you've created for yourself. And then you have this moment where you're like, this could be my last moment. And do I just live in this moment and enjoy this moment, or continue down the path of like doing what traditionally has made me miserable, but I've done it because that's the life I know. And I think on both sides, we kind of see them experiencing that kind of reality check with themselves, because they're like, wait a minute, I'm really not happy, but I'm putting on the facade that I am. And here's a moment where like this could all go away. Do I enjoy myself? And it's like, no, back to reality. So I thought it was another one of those moments where we get to peer into the reality of what could happen in this circumstance. Like how would we embrace that last moment of life, or the glimpse of what could be the last moment of life, and how would we like embrace what's in front of us in the moment? How would we react to the people around us would we put our own selfish needs first? So I think they answer all those questions. And that's why I think people who say they don't like this film are just, like you said, lazy film watchers, because this film is so well-rounded and it's so complex. It's not just a boring, it's not just like it's not an action film that's just going to have you watching for the sake of action. It's a film that makes you actually think, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, and also to add to what you just said, the character started. It's amazing. At the end of the day, you're reminded that we're all human beings, right? And so when you open up and you get to know somebody, all these stereotypes that you had about them, right, are out the window, because I got to know who you are. And I love how they humanize the moment and be like, hey, I'm a female, I'm a male, I'm black, you're white, like I'm young, you're old. It doesn't matter. We can find a common ground because we're humans. Right. Yeah. And then we start talking and get to know you, like, oh, wow, you feel the same way about this. Oh, you do this as well. It's like, oh, we have something in common. Yes. Now it breaks down these barriers that society has kind of put up for us to be like, oh, no, you don't want to go there. You don't want to hang out with them. They're crazy. They do this. So a lot of stereotypes were broken in those moments, which I thought was brilliantly done on screen, that is sometimes hard to do. And you had some veteran actors here. Mm-hmm. That they were able to just be like, hey, man, this is what it is, but I'm able to be human at the same time. There is a moment with Ethan Hawke, and he sees a Spanish lady on the highway. Well, it's not a highway, but it's like in Long Island, there's a lot of like side roads where you're just driving for like hours because you just don't know where the hell you are. And he runs into her, and she is just speaking Spanish. He's like, I have no clue, which we all know he does because we saw Training Day. So he knows it. But anyway, in the movie, he's like, I don't know. And she's like panicking, and then he sees this red dust. And so in that moment, are you still at what point, when you don't know what's going on, do you want to do you want to help other people? Do you everybody says, oh, I saw an accident and I didn't do anything, but I promise next time when I see an accident, I'm going to help somebody out. It's like, what do you do in that moment when you're confronted with that? Do you stick to who you are, or because you're in this circumstance for the first time, you're like, hey, I don't know who this person is. I don't know what could happen. I don't know if we're even prepared to help anybody else but ourselves, right? Because then you're thinking about rationings, right? And then how long are we going to be stuck like this? Is this person going to drive me crazy? Well, I have to kill somebody. All these. I'm not. Hey, I'm just saying. Like when it's the end of the world, you become a different person, I would assume. What do you think?
I was like, oh hell no, I would drive off, and it's only because. And then listen, it's not because I wouldn't want to help.
You ain't right. We ain't letting anybody in the house. You driving off, ladies and gentlemen. Rob is an awful human being.
No, the level of hysteria that woman came to the car with to me, it was like, listen, he tried to calm her down. He tried to ask her what was going on. He did his due diligence. He tried, but she was so hysterical that there was no calming her down. So at that point, I'm like, is she just crazy? Like, I don't want to let you in the car with me. Like, you just seem like a psychopath to me. So if she was just calm and like, please help, maybe because I see some crazy stuff is going on. But this one, I was like, did she get bit by something? And if she gonna get in the car and bite me, like, I don't know what's going on. So I would have left her right on the street where she was. Navigate that cornfield, ma'am.
Yeah, yes. All right.
Nope.
I'm not going to give too much away and kind of move on, but there was another reveal. What was I going to say? So there's a bunker scene, and also nature's going crazy at this point, right? You're seeing all the deer that shoot Long Island. I'm going to tell you how many deer, and then a lot of them have ticks all over their face. They showed clean deer. No, my friends, Long Island. These deer are tick infested. That's what even. I think they should put ticks on these. It would be even crazier to watch it. But anyway, you're seeing all nature come alive. Just the sounds. Oh my God, that siren that kept on going off. I was like, it's over, right?
Yeah.
Your brain is just doing all these things. As a parent, and I put myself in their shoes, right? If I had kids, and I have my wife, what am I thinking about, right? And you have two conflicts there, right? Mahershala Ali's character, their wife and mom is on a flight, right? And we're seeing later on, we see planes going down. So your brain's got to be like, oh my God, if she didn't land earlier, she's done. And then you also have Ethan Hawke and Julia Roberts' character be like, our kids, we have to be strong for them, because if we show weakness, then we lose it all, right? And so that's difficult, right? The hardest part as a parent there. What do you think about that scene? And is it you first, or like how do you set up your mind to be like, hey, you know what? I have to stay strong so that everybody else will be okay.
I don't know. That's tough because, in his circumstance too, he is battling the idea of what could be and the hope of what could be. So for him to have to be like, but I get it. He has to be, the stronger person in the circumstance for his daughter. But also, I think there was a lot. What annoyed me was the lack of either self-awareness from Julia Roberts or the lack of checking Julia Roberts from Mahershala Ali's character, because I feel like at a certain point you got to be like, yeah, it should have been explained, and as opposed to letting her continuously make these comments when she didn't understand the gravity of what could have happened, because she doesn't know that the mom's on a plane, and she doesn't also know that planes are having this certain situation. Yeah. So I think he should have had that conversation with her off to the side, because they have plenty of conversations where they like clarify things to each other in private. But I don't know. I was a little frustrated that he didn't clear that up.
Well, I think also he had feelers, right? So we would talk about certain things and she would just panic. And because you have feelers like that, you know, you're feeling out the person you're talking to. I think everybody does it, right? And generally, like
Yeah.
you start talking about stuff, and when certain things are, it's kind of like politics or religion, right? Like, don't bring them over to dinner. And then when someone says something crazy, you're like, ooh, let's see where this lands. And like, okay, we're good. Versus like,
Right.
oh, I need to get out of here. You know? So I think he was slowly kind of feeling her out, and she was like, why are you telling me this? Don't tell me anymore. And you're like, okay, well, then I can't tell you that my wife might have possibly died on a plane because you flipping out about maybe this is you know, some government conspiracy going down. And
Yes.
and Mahershala's characters, you really don't know what he does, which kind of like, is he involved with this? Does he know? Because he's like, I spoke to a guy at a dinner one time, and he said this thing might happen one day, but I'm not sure. And you're just like, bro, what's going on?
So what do you do, sir?
Yes, exactly. Can I get a title of what you do? I do things, you know, it's just one of those things. So anyway, I'm a big fan of this movie. I would highly recommend checking it out. This is the big reveal right here. Rob, one, do you want to add anything more for the film? And two, what would you rate it, Rob?
I am going to rate it. And can I?
Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, season 3, and this is what we all wait for Rob to give you the best. Oh my God. And you lose it. He's gonna, you know, he was like, you know, like, I love the film, but Rob's gonna do what Rob does, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Come on, Rob, give it to us.
You have to understand, my rating is because, see, I would be a bad Rotten Tomatoes rater because, especially, okay, the acting was phenomenal, the storyline was phenomenal, the cinematography was impeccable, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. Bro, I liked it. I liked it. I
love Rob so much.
I'm giving it a 10 out of 10.
I need to make a t-shirt. 10 out of 10. Rob. Rob.
You gotta start picking more bad movies because you
Rob's rating 10 out of 10. All right. Rob never disappoints, buddy. I'm gonna give it a 8.5, 9. 8.5, 9.
Where did it lose a point for you?
Oh, well, where it gained a point instead of losing a point was it wasn't an alien movie. I was, you know, and that was a big thing for me. I was like, oh, is it gonna be? Because you didn't know what it was gonna be, right? It's like technology, and it was like, it's gonna be aliens because the animals are running around. You're like, oh my God, what's gonna this? So that's my one. Take it away. There ain't no aliens in this. Sorry, guys. That's my spoiler. There's no aliens.
No aliens.
That gave me a point, but I think I didn't like how slow it was. And I know you had to build it up, but there were some points I was like, and so they filled it with like scenes that, like, again, like the dancing scene. It was funny and it was good, but I was like, it's unnecessary. I think
I thought it was so necessary.
No. It works. It works, but I don't need to see Julia Roberts awkwardly dancing. I don't need that. I don't need that ever. No one needs that. The world doesn't need that. So again, you could take that scene out, maybe just cut it to the boom boom and less dancing, and then, like, you know, hey, it's my classic. And then you're like, oh, Julia, she's like,
I loved it.
She's like doing the Elaine, baby. And Mahershala's doing the 2-step. Hey, brother. Yeah. Hey, man. Hey, how you doing? Hey, brother. Hey, how you doing, brother? Yeah.
Julia, if you ever see this, I think it is necessary for us to watch you dance in every movie.
Julia, I think we should really see Can You Dance? That's what I really think we should do, because I don't know. And right now I'm crying inside and I'm like, there's no way. And I stuck up for you. I said,
with the Stars?
Ain't no way Julia dancing like that.
Has she been on Dancing with the Stars?
Dancing with the Stars is B-level stars. Dancing with the Stars ain't no A-level stars. What is wrong with you, Rob? Come on.
I'm just pitching this as an idea.
She ain't ever going. Listen, the day Julia Roberts goes on Dancing with the Stars, oh man, that means she did some crack.
Not crack.
That is the only way you get Julia Roberts on Dancing with the Stars. She did crack.
Not crack. I think her and Mahershala Ali should go on Dance with the Stars.
Again, you can only do it if Dancing with the Stars is for one night, because they're too busy to do it, like, you know, every week. Like, I agree. That would actually be a good one-off.
We're on a strike.
To teach a different dance move and kind of do that. What is that? That's like 8-week season? Yeah, no one's giving 2 months. You ain't paying no film money like that. Anyway, moving right along. So please check this out on Netflix. Again, Rob gave it an amazing review. If you just tuning in now and you missed that, it's called Leave the World Behind. Moving right along to Candy Lane. Now,
Kane. That's our Kane.
the cat. What?
You said Candy Lane, but it's Candy Cane Lane.
Candy Cane Lane. I'm sorry, everybody there. This guy over here. Candy Cane Lane. Now, Eddie Murphy, welcome back. We've seen him come back with a couple of movies since then. He did Dolomite, and then he did Coming to America 2. And now we're seeing his Christmas movie. And so before I go into this, Eddie Murphy has actually done 2 other Christmas movies, which we might not consider them Christmas movies. But Coming to America is during the holidays.
That's true.
Right? And Trading Places is during the holidays.
That's true.
Boom. A lot of people don't remember that. Gotcha.
That is true.
And so I started thinking, I watched Eddie Murphy in an interview and they said, hey, he was asked, hey, what's your goal with a film like this? She's like, I want to make one of those classic Christmas movies. And I'm like, ooh, that's tough. I mean, it's tough for any movie. And I thought about that. I was like, wow, that's tough. Like, think about what are your top 5 movies? I meant to ask you later, but think it throughout.
I already know.
The show. Oh, you already know off the top of your head?
Well, I know my number 1.
Okay. But I'm saying everybody has like top 3 or 5 movies that they watch. I'll touch back with you later, Rob. You can tell me what they are to you. Write them down slowly as we do the show. But
they're here.
That being said, it's like, hey, I always do that every year, right? So it's tough to add a new film to that. I think the only new film I've added to that list would be The Next Man, Best Man, the second one. Yeah, the last movie they had before they did the TV series.
Yeah.
But that was great because they did What's Name Passed Away, and they did the New Edition scene, and it was Christmas time, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, so now I'll watch that during the holidays because that's just a good feel.
Like a good black.
Yes, good black holiday movie. And then it also made me think, like, how many good black holiday movies are there? And or do we not have as many because they didn't put them out there the way they put out the other movies?
Or they just didn't become like, they didn't make them those
exactly those staple movies. They didn't make them staple movies. So Elf, Home Alone. I watched Die Hard with wifey. She was like, Die Hard. I was like,
now you're giving out the list at the beginning.
No, I'm just letting you know. I'm like, these are some of the things I think everybody kind of watches, but those are on my list, and then you throw in some other ones here and there, sprinkle them throughout. But anyway, so Eddie Murphy has the task of Candy Cane Lane, and it's also starring Tracy Ellis Ross, which we love from Blackish, Diana Ross's daughter. She's amazing. She's great on film and great in shows. So I love their dynamic as a couple.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically, Eddie Murphy is a determined man who wants to win the neighborhood annual Christmas decorating contest. This still happens in LA. I don't know a lot of places that still do this, but usually like there's like a block or a long street in this town that whoever has the best decorations wins a prize. And so they're doing it with his town, but now there's like a big prize after that. This is big for Eddie because he just lost his job. And I think a lot of people can kind of understand this because, holidays, we always see those movies where someone gets fired and it may have happened to you and you're like, oh, what do I do now? I need to find something. And so it's either like realizing that I've not had my family around me, right? Or realizing that I need to be more kinder to people, or people need to just be more open about their feelings. So it was one of those heartfelt feelings. And so Eddie Murphy, because he wants to win the contest, he's willing to do anything to do it. And so he's driving with his daughter, and then under an underpass of all places, he sees a Christmas store because they're looking for decorations. And this Christmas store has decorations unlike any you've ever seen before. But there's a little catch. There's an evil elf there, and she basically gives you a raw deal, and you sign basically your life away if you don't live up to what the obligations are on the contract. Eddie Murphy doesn't even bother to read it. He's just like, hey, you know what? This sounds great. He gets to 12 days of Christmas as a big decoration tree, and they all come to life, and they put on an amazing show. and come to find out later that he has to find the rings, or else he'll become a figurine for the rest of his life. Interesting mix. What do you think about the spin on that kind of twist on a holiday movie, and what do you think of the movie overall?
I thought it was a fun family movie, and I thought it was a good new twist on telling this holiday tale. I hadn't seen this done before, which I thought was great because I hadn't seen this specific story, because so often we see things like recycled over and over again. So the creativity in this concept, I think, was great. I think of course, everybody always takes a concept that kind of exists and add some flair to it. But this was, I think, really, really creatively done from an imagination perspective. So I thought it was fun. I like the idea of like the evil elf and the figurines and these figurines that had already, gone, had not followed through on the deal. So I liked it. It was fun. It was entertaining. I think it's a great film that you could sit around with your kids and watch. Do I think I watch it every year? Probably not, but I did like it. I did enjoy it.
So Eddie Murphy gets to make one. His character gets to make one wish, and that's he wanted to win the street fair. And so, with that being said, if you could make one Christmas wish, Rob, what would it be?
One Christmas wish.
Yeah, get one Christmas wish. All right, get back to me. You're not even.
We all gonna ask for it. I'm grown.
I don't know what you're asking for, Rob.
I just want a big pot of money under the tree so that I don't have to work anymore. I could just pursue the thing I'm passionate about.
I'm gonna ask for world peace, Rob. That's what I'm asking for.
You can't ever wish for that. The genies don't allow that, and Santa doesn't allow that. You can't ask for that.
It wasn't either one. It was a really weird elf. I mean, what are we talking about? There was definitely some side stuff.
You're gonna have world peace and be broke in the street.
Hey, you know what, Rob? Listen, Rob, the one thing I've learned being on this planet, money isn't always happiness.
That's true.
It pays the bill. Don't get me wrong, Rob. It pays the bill. But,
it's true.
As long as you have health and you have your two front teeth, you'll be good. Went to the dentist today. Mouth still swollen. Yeah, people go to the dentist. As you get older, you got to, yeah.
You have a well-rounded tooth structure.
Thank you.
Perfectly like a C.
I tried. You did a little polish. I was like, give me that polish. She's like,
I don't know how we changed the topic to like teeth, but
just brought it about me. Just made it about me, Rob. That's it. So that was a cool spin on it, right? So the movie, if you don't come through with keeping your end of the bargain, you become a figurine. And so the other figurines there are like, hey, on the low, like, listen, man, things are going down here. She doesn't play by the rules as elf, so be careful and watch your back. And so they're like, hey, you know what? Maybe if we help you out, maybe we'll become back to human form. And so it's kind of interesting to kind of see that. And they play within the world of being these small figurines to like being live action figures, which is really cool. That was fun. And how you mentioned earlier, like the kids would kind of like that, I think.
Yeah.
Also, you see, as a father, the relationships with your kids, and like his daughter wants to get into college, but they want their daughter to go and run track for USC. And she's like, no, I want to go to like Notre Dame or something, or Penn State, one of those schools. And she's like, and fighting, I thought about that too. Like, your alma mater and your kid has a chance to go there, and you're like, they don't want to go there. Like, mother, I raised you. And that's true, though. Kids are going to have their own opinion, right? His son wants to be a DJ, but he wants his son to be something else. So it's like your kids aren't always going to be what you want them to be, but at least if they stay out of trouble and off the pole, that's a win. And so
get on the pole.
Chris Rock said, hey, the goal in life is to get your daughters off the pole. And if your daughter's off the pole, that's a big thing. And off the gram.
They are talented dancers with strong cores.
Oh, Rob, what is wrong with you? And anyway, moving right along. So this movie had some crazy moments in it because, again, they use the figurines and they're riding around. And there's Christmas involved. What was one of your favorite moments in the film, Rob?
I think the end scene, the final quest to get the rings, that whole scene.
The gathering of the rings, like the
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings. It's the gathering of the rings.
The gathering of the rings. Yes, it was very entertaining, fun. That's the part I think. I feel like the kids will be up screaming, having a good time. Everybody be involved and invested in the film. And of course, you have the big culmination where we have the realization, back to the point that you were just talking about, where the kids want to evolve into who they want to be, and our main character, our protagonist, realizes that he could be better at certain things in life, like paying attention to the things that are important to his children. So it was, that whole end scene I thought was done very well. It was fun. It was exciting. It was high energy, and it was. I love the incorporation of the figurines and a Black Santa Claus with David Alan Grier.
You took that right from me. So
Sorry.
No, it's all right. I'm gonna say two things. I'm gonna add to that. So my favorite scene was two scenes actually. We go to Tracy Ellis Ross. She plays Carol. We go to her job where she's going to be reviewed by senior ups, and so if everything goes right, she's going to get a promotion. And so there's these crazy, I guess, ducks running around. What are they? First day of Christmas? I got to remember the days of Christmas. But what were they? Ducks, chicken? I don't know what they were. Yeah, French hens. They're yeah. So they're these crazy French hens. Look like something out of animation. They were just crazy, like in the face, like crazy. Like, hey, what's up?
Or was it the turtle doves?
I don't know. No. Remember there was a crazy. Anyway, in the work area, they were like getting in boxes and stuff and all that. So that was really cool how they did that live animation. It reminded me of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, when there was that first interaction of like the cartoons mixed with actual people. So they did like one of those scenes, which was actually. It's a lot. It's come along since then, so it's really cool to see that on screen. And then the other scene was Danielle Pinnock. She was a TV anchor, and she was her and the guy were going back and forth. And she was like, "Oh, honey, they ain't winning no money here. This is gonna be coupons." She had a lot of like one-liners that I thought was funny in her facial expression. So she was a nice kind of breath of fresh air in the film.
Yeah.
My other question to you, and you touching on. Did you think so? There's a scene, right? And Santa's coming towards the end of the movie, and I'm like, and this is spoiler alert, but I'm thinking like, ooh, is Santa gonna be black or white? Did you think that or no?
I mean,
even if it's a black film, did you still think it was gonna be?
I don't think I thought about it until I saw
really?
it, which is interesting because I would have been like, well, the director is Reginald Hudlin. I mean, it is a
Well, the elf is white too, so I'm like, it's kind of like going in. You know what I'm saying? I was like going in a narrative like, but I'm like, and then I was actually pleasantly surprised, right? I was like, oh, that's great. And I was like, oh, David Alan Grier, even better. When's the last time they did a movie? So it was great to see them on screen together. I think Boomerang was their last film they did together,
which is still my favorite movie of all time.
When he had hair, when David Alan Grier had hair and no facial hair. That's crazy. And Eddie still looks the same.
Basically.
That goes to tell you that's when money comes in handy. You can look the same for like 20. I was like, how old is Eddie Murphy? Eddie Murphy, 65 years old. Get that. 65 years old, man. If I look like this at 65, you in trouble.
Oh man. Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was fun.
All right. So overall, fun movie. I would check it out if you have nothing to watch on Netflix right now. Sorry, not on Netflix. This is on Prime. So if you want to check out a new Christmas movie on Prime, have the kids come see it. I love seeing Eddie getting back into it again. I wish there's no Eddie Murphy like one-liners in there or like funny scene. What was the movie he did where he was Muslim and the Jewish family and they came together? It recently came out a couple in the summer on Netflix.
Yeah.
I can't be.
You People.
Yeah, You People. So I love You People because you got to see Eddie kind of do his chops.
Yes, that was great.
Be a comedian and and do these one-liners and you don't really see that in this film. So that's the only downgrade of that I would say. Like you don't get Eddie just, if you ever watch any kid movies that Eddie does, that Eddie was being Eddie in those movies. Same
Yeah.
thing. He just does the movie. He's not really looking to find those like moments. He kind of like lets everybody else flourish on the screen, which I kind of like because I don't like as much because it's disappointing. Like I'm seeing this for Eddie, and see. So that's the only thing, the knock I would give on it. It's just a very timid Eddie Murphy. But otherwise, it's a good film. I would check it out and tell people to watch it. What do you think, Rob?
Yeah, I absolutely say, especially now that the holidays are rolling around, people are going to get together for the weekends, spend time with the family. This is definitely one of those movies you can have on in the background so the kids have something to watch while the family's playing spades and eating dinner. This is one of those movies that is safe, is family friendly, is fun, it's entertaining. I definitely recommend it for this weekend.
We'll leave it at that. Don't want to get Rob in trouble today. You know what I'm saying? Don't want to get Rob in trouble today.
I'm not gonna say anything crazy.
No, we're gonna leave it at that. We're gonna leave it at that. It's fine. It's fine. Thank you, everybody. This has been a great show. I'm very festive. Christmas is gonna be on Monday, which is weird, right? Christmas on Monday. It's a weird. The New Year's
on Monday. Christmas
New Year's Day's on Monday. Yeah, throwing everybody off. Everybody's gonna be a hot mess for the next week or so. So I just want to say happy holidays, everybody. Be safe out there. What are you trying to do? We're trying to do a show next week, or?
I mean, what we're gonna do? You want to go see Color Purple?
I was gonna say that. You want to see Color Purple?
Let's do it.
Okay, so Color Purple next week. I got to see the old one again because I like to get a vibe of what the new spin on it is.
Now, how you don't remember? I can quote.
I remember key
line for line.
I remember key moments in Color Purple, but I don't remember the movie that well. It's been a long, long time.
Well, yeah, you need to do a Color Purple refresher then.
I know. That's what I'm going to do. They're probably going to make me pay for it too. That's the only that sucks about the holiday times. The classic movies that you should always see on TV, they know you want to watch them. So now they're like, I got to pay $5.
I have that one on DVD, by the way.
That's what I'm saying. So now I got to go and do that. So anyway, be safe, my man. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Thank you for showing up tonight. I appreciate you. Any last words?
No, I guess we're not going to rate that one, but that's fine. I don't want to get.
I mean, listen. I want to interview Eddie one day. I don't.
Yeah, let's not rate it. And listen,
it's a good film. Have fun.
It's a good film. Have fun.
There you go. All right, buddy. Thank you so much. See you next week.
See you next week.